Yeah. uh-huh. Yeah. Shit. Grams leaders CC's pounds. Close cash, close call, close encounter, close up, pounds of leaders of grams, get your dosed up, cut this up and post up, and get dosed up. This for them voted like the move and make the most of. Monday night at 8, I can't wait to set you straight. These opinions and debates for them folk that can't relate. I gotta elevate your mind through these signs of the time. Dishing out that medication for that deaf, dumb and blind. And I ain't hard to find, you can catch me in them trenches. I drew the groundwork and I ain't waiting on no sense. I be touching on them topics politicians fail to mention. And I don't vote for nobody that ain't got good intentions. I'm relentless for my people and I'm here to make a change. I got that truth serum hooked directly to your veins. Hey, this is for my people, tune in, catch a close-up, 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 a close-up, grams of it, tune in, leaders of it, close-up, pounds of it. Pounds of it, yeah, grams of it, liters up, pounds, get you dosed up, dosed up, dosed up.
Get dosed up. Yeah, man. Boy, somebody had to hit the flow with that. We up in this thing, y'all.
That's right.
I think it's what, Monday the 20th, if I got my date right.
That's right.
It's 8 o'clock. Ocho. I am Sharp Shooter, aka Dose, and what you just heard would let off them bows. That's DJLAB.
That's right.
So, you know, it's
Y'all
always
attention.
getting the attention. It's always good to speak with y'all. You know, let me give you a quick recap of the weekend. Oh man, it was a little bit one of them painful weekends. I got tatted up again.
Oh, okay.
I'm going in. I'm trying to do it like every week or every other week. You know what I'm saying? Just finish up this stuff. So
Oh, okay.
'cause
So you
it-
got one that you're trying to finish up.
yeah.
You're trying to fill
Finish
in
up
and stuff.
both, really all of it, man. So I
Okay.
ain't got to get up under there no more.
Okay.
And you know, I was just discussing with my tattoo artist. I was like, you look, man. You know, when you get in that zone and that vibe, you want to go ahead and knock it out as much as you can because your body start getting used to that shock, that pain and that feeling. Not that I like it, but I'm just saying you get accustomed to it to the point where okay, you can bear it and go ahead and get what you need done.
Right.
If you stop for months, years at a time, then you're gonna get what you expecting when you get back up in there, a blast from the past.
Right.
So that's kind of why I'm on this mission. You know what I'm saying? I like the progress. Yeah, you know, like I say, the coloring book is almost finished.
Okay.
Did a
How
little
many
bit of
pages you got of that to go?
shit, man. I say about maybe 3 or 4 pages. You know, if we looking at areas to cover. You know.
Okay. Okay? Is that that's a children's coloring book or an adult coloring book? You know, 'cause
It's
you know,
a
they
little
do
bit
some,
of both. It's
Okay.
for all. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
okay.
It ain't gonna be nothing that ain't nobody hadn't seen before. You
Okay.
know, I put it to you like that, even as a child.
Okay.
So I try not to have it's in the name of art. So I try
Okay.
not to have anything vulgar. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I got what you're saying. You know, some people do coloring books. You know, we had an artist on here who does coloring books. And his is an adult coloring book centered
shit, okay.
around mental health.
Oh, well, that's awesome. You know,
what I'm saying? So, you know, you gotta ask these things. 'Cause, you know, I like the color too. I like coloring too. You know, it does help with your mental concentration.
of clearly that. I mean, I explained. I was, you know, in one of the previous episodes how like painting, playing card games or Connect Four, Uno, and coloring and things were like that. That's one of the things. Some of the things that they were doing on the behavior unit ward.
Okay, yeah,
at
that's
the
right.
hospital
You did,
that I
you
was
did
in,
say
so.
that. Yeah.
But it's also what they do with kids when they want to calm them down or get their interest. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You know, so
They throw the coloring book in their face.
hey, shit, man.
The concentrating on them, staying inside the lines and picking
Mm-hmm.
the right colors. And I get what you're saying.
Okay, I see my boy Hilton done. He tuning in. What's up, my guy?
What's going on, Hilton?
One of my West Side partners.
Okay.
So, another thing, you know, I did a little bit of music. I've been tying up loose ends over the weekend, man.
Okay.
Trying to get in the business mind frame of everything.
Okay.
You know, this whole summer I'm gonna have to start filing some paperwork, man. Getting numbers, you know, like EIN numbers, tax numbers, BMI numbers, ASCAP numbers, all these other things starting to come to mind.
Right, right.
The boring stuff behind it, man. You know, I like to just get behind the creativity of it.
Right.
But
Let somebody else handle all that other stuff.
yeah,
right?
man, I'm trying to get it there, but I mean, you know, people ain't interested until they can be benefit. You know, benefit. So I guess I got to get everything done. You know how it go.
Yeah, I do. I was just thinking about that the other day. You know, how we do stuff and try to help people heal, like nonprofits and stuff with streaming their events and stuff like that. And then you don't hear nothing else from them, and then when they need you, here they come again.
Yep.
You know
Well,
what I'm saying? When it's beneficial for them, here they come again.
On my road to success and on the path to like just investing in myself and doing what I'm doing, I kind of understand now why a lot of wealthy people, people may be saying like they don't give back, but you may not understand what they had to go through to get what they got, and who wasn't there when they were going through it.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of. It's always two sides to a coin, but it's also two sides to a story as well.
Right.
You know, when some people out here losing weight or something, or they on their knees, you know, praying to get that next meal because they put some money down on something that had to do with their business. You know, you're not there when that's occurring.
Right.
So,
Right. You're not there when they shooting free throws and
R.I.P. Kobe. You know.
Right.
I like that reference, but that shit be making me miss Kobe when you bring that up. When I was shooting in the gym, you know.
Right.
And speaking of that, I definitely want to say, you know, to my listeners out there, man, be safe, cause on the way here, man, you know, someone got killed off of at the Chevron gas station on Bankhead.
Really?
Man. So yeah, it's already popping out and doing it now. It's already, you know.
Wow.
Crank up.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's the warm weather start, huh?
As soon as the
Well,
warm
cold
weather
weather too,
starts,
but when the warm weather starts, it seems like it get worse, don't it?
it does, bruh. I mean, you know, they do say Christmas time, which is cold, is robbing season, but
Right.
summertime, man, it's lit it's lit, you know. All day damn near.
Right,
They
right.
get you from I guess what noon till
to
dusk till
no,
midnight
to midnight
till 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
There you go.
Damn, man,
There you go.
know, and it's just sad to hear because you ain't gotta ask what color. You don't, and you don't have to ask was it a man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's shit. You know, since I'm over in that area, I'm getting calls like, "Hey, man, you know, keep your head on the swivel, be safe out there."
Right.
You know, it's interesting to see because it's supposed to be gentrified as well.
It's not all the way. though.
Hell no, it ain't. I can tell you that
They
right
still
now.
got a
Don't
little-
go
they
over
got
there.
long-
Don't
they
think
got
it's
some-
sweet yet.
They got some years to go for it's all the way done.
Yeah, they do. And so, you know, I got a decent topic, man, that can kind of piggyback off of what we just got through talking about. But what I want to get into today are like myths, legends, and fables. You know, thing I like about fables is you can learn morals and lessons from them. Myths and legends sometimes can serve as warnings or you know examples if they have some merit or truth to it. So
Right. Okay.
I'll describe or give you the definition of a myth, which is pretty much what they say a myth is right here. A traditional or legendary story usually concerning some being or hero or event with or without a determinable basis of fact or natural explanation. So that pretty much means like it's supernatural. And then it's like especially one that is concerned with deities or demigods and explains some type of practice.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, there are some people that base some of their lifestyles and some of their culture off of myths.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
and
I mean,
it really can't be proven. So and that's where you have to realize, okay, what are you learning then from this, or how does it make you feel, or is it productive, is it counterproductive, is it beneficial? If it's a myth, that's kind of where I'm coming from with it. I'll get to the definition of a legend. Cause you know, legends, they have movies out of those, you know, and like urban legends and things like that.
Right.
That seems to be a little bit more entertaining and interesting. But it's a story that's coming down from the past. One is popular, regarded as historical, but it's not necessarily verifiable.
Okay.
So a popular story, you tend to believe things that are popular or passed down or spoken over and over and over again. Unless they like fables of, we'll say, like a Santa Claus or something like that. You know, you ain't believing in that, but
Right. Now, after a certain age, you don't believe in it.
yeah.
But you tend to believe in it when you're younger.
So like Bloody Mary and Candyman, those are like
Yeah.
legends, you know.
Right.
All right, so now let me get to actually what a fable is, because I gave you the definition of a myth and a legend. So a fable, now these are what I like the most, because fables are kind of like along the line of parables, or fables. It really don't matter necessarily if they're proven or not, because the lesson gives you a moral. So it's a story that teaches a moral or lesson. Sometimes it has animals as the main character, pretty much. That's how they broke that down.
So
Really
all
simplistic.
fables, most fables have animals as the main character.
From what I've known, and when I was digging into them, it seems like most of them are basically from Aesop.
Like
He's the
Little
most
Pigs,
popular one.
Like Three Little Pigs. That would be a fable, right?
I think Three Little Pigs is more like some Dr. Seuss. Probably so. I mean, it could be.
I'm
But
gonna go with that.
What's the lesson that you would get from that? Fortifying something like bricks are stronger than straw. You see what I'm saying? Because the wolf huffed and puffed. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I think it was more stick together because all the Three Little Pigs eventually ended up in the brick house.
Okay.
And so something like that. Like Peter Rabbit. Slick said Peter Rabbit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Alice in Wonderland.
So I'm gonna give you one.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a fable. I'm gonna read a fable right here,
Yeah,
and,
do
and
that
this
for us.
this is dope. This ain't got an animal in it right
Okay.
now. All right, so it's called The Miser and His Gold, and I like this one right here because it make a lot of sense, and this shit hit deep too, by the way. It cut. All right, so it say once upon a time there was a miser who used to hide his gold at the foot of a tree in his garden. Every week he used to go dig it up and gloat over his gains. All right, so a robber who had noticed this went and dug up the gold and decamped with it. Decamped, I guess, mean ran off with that thing, stole that shit.
Okay.
All right, so then when the miser the next came to gloat over his treasures, he found nothing. What is this? I say nothing but an empty hole, right? All right, so he tore his hair out pretty much, raised such an outcry that all the neighbors came around him, and he told them how he used to come and visit his gold. All right, so a question was asked, did you ever take any of it out? One asked him. He said, nay, I only came to look at it.
Okay.
All right, so then what that person said was, then come again and look at the hole, said a neighbor. It will do you just as much good. So the moral of that story is wealth unused might as well not exist.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense because, I have a lot of times when they say, my elders would definitely say, hey, man, I ain't going to do nothing but save this money and throw it in the bank. But what you going to do with it? You ain't going to invest it in nothing that ain't going to make you nothing. This ain't going to do nothing for you in the bank. You see what I'm saying? If you put that type of money in the bank and it ain't enough to, draw no interest off of it, that's what you get. And so putting your money in a hole and just going to look at it every day and gloat over it, but you didn't buy nothing with it. You didn't invest anything with it. You didn't help nobody. You didn't do a damn thing with it, but look at it. You might as well not have it, I guess.
What was that one saying they used to have? A fool and his money a soon party.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
And see, I like them. Them short and sweet. Those are
Right.
kind of like parables to me, though. You see what I'm saying? All right, so that's a pretty cool one. Let me see what else we got right here. Okay, we got one that says The Lion and the Mouse. This is pretty lengthy, so let's see what the lion and the mouse are up to.
Okay.
All right, once when a lion was asleep, a little mouse began running up and down him. So they say, I see. Okay. This soon awakened the lion, who placed a huge paw upon him and opened his big jaw to swallow him. Pardon, O king, cried the little mouse. Forgive me this time, I shall never forget it. Who knows, but I may be able to do you a turn one of these days. The lion was so tickled at the idea of the mouse being able to help him that he lifted up his paw and let him go. Sometime, hunters who desired to carry him alive to the king tied him to a tree. I guess this is the lion. While they went in search. See, that's another thing about these things. I see they'll skip. You got to kind of put together what they're talking about. All right. So they tied the lion to a wagon to carry him on. All right, so I get where this is going already.
Okay.
All right. Just then, a little mouse happened to pass by, and seeing the sad plight in which the lion was, went up to him and soon gnawed away the ropes so that the lion got away. Was I not right, said the little mouse. Little friends may prove to be great friends, is what the moral of that is.
Okay.
So you got one that's mighty. So, but guess what though? This mouse pretty much brought that upon himself. So he still got a favor.
Okay.
Because he saved the lion. So now if he get into it with something bigger than him, he still got a friend.
He got a favor. He got somebody to help him out.
Of course. Okay. So, favors for favors is what I got from that one.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what a satire is. Look at what is this word? S-A-T-Y-R. S-A-T-Y-R.
Yeah.
And it's the man in that word, right? All right, this is pretty lengthy. So a man had lost his way in the wood one bitter winter's night. As he was roaming about, this says, a satyr or whatever came up to him, and finding that he had lost his way, promised to give him lodging for the night. As he went along to the satyr's cell, the man raised both hands to his mouth and kept on blowing at them. What do you do that for? Said the satyr. My hands are numb with the cold, said the man, and my breath warms them.
Okay.
All right, so after this, they arrived at the satyr's home, and soon the satyr put a smoking dish of porridge before him. But when the man raised his spoon to his mouth, he began blowing upon it. And why do you do that for? Said the satyr. The porridge is too hot, and my breath will cool it. Out you go, said the satyr. What did he say? I will have not to do with the man who can blow hot and cold with the same breath. All right, so, damn, that's the moral of the story.
Well, satire is one of a class of lustful, drunken woodland gods. In Greek art, they were represented as a man with a horse's ears and tail, but in Roman representations as a man with a goat's ears, tail, legs, and horns.
Wow. Okay. So that sounds like a mythical creature or something, like a minotaur or something.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that you can cool something and heat something up, but this was.
That seems. I guess it seems.
Indecisive.
Tricky, or what they call that,
mischievous or something, because it doesn't to me, because that's exactly what I would be doing.
Right. It's something, I forget that I had the name of the word before I read that dang on definition of satire, but yeah.
So now I'm gonna read, we'll say, like, the milkmaid and her pail. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, what the hell is this? All right, Patty the milkmaid was going to the market carrying her milk in a pail on her head. As she went along, she began calculating what she would do with the money. I kind of see where this is going. What she would do with the money she would get for the milk. I'll buy some fowl from Farmer Brown's, she said, and they will lay eggs each morning, which I will sell to the parson's wife.
Okay.
With the money that I get from the sale of eggs, I'll buy myself a new, this is what, dimity frock and a chip hat. And when I go to the market, won't all the young men come up to speak to me? So she's already thinking in vain.
Right.
All right. So it says Polly Shaw will be jealous, but I don't care. I should just look at her and toss my head like this. Shit now.
She started stuff.
Hey, no. Check it out though. See, it's called the milkmaid. What is this? The milkmaid in her pail.
Okay.
And she had the pail on her head now.
Oh, okay.
So she's saying she gonna toss her hair like this to try to make somebody jealous, right? All right. After she spoke and tossed her head back, the pail fell off of it, and all the milk was spilled. So she had to go home and tell her mother what occurred. My child, said the mother, don't count your chickens before they have hatched, pretty much. So in thinking of all this shit she gonna do with the money and how she gonna make somebody jealous, she lost it all.
She forgot the basic thing, to concentrate on what you got going on.
Get to the money first, basically. Shit, you know, before you start celebrating, don't pop that champagne. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like they say, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. You know what I'm saying? See that deal through. What up, Danny Greenwood? I see you out there. All right, the fox and the stork. This should be interesting, cause one of them obviously got the advantage. So let's see what
Somebody
the
gonna
stork.
get 8 in this one.
We gonna see. At one time, the fox and the stork were on visiting terms. Okay, it seemed very good friends. So the fox invited the stork to dinner, and for a joke, put nothing before her but soup in a very shallow dish. The fox could easily lap up, but the stork could only wet the end of her long bill in it, and left the meal pretty much as hungry as she began. I'm sorry, said the fox. The soup is not to your liking. Pray do not apologize, said the stork. I hope you will return this visit and come and dine with me soon. So a day was appointed when the fox should visit the stork.
Okay.
But when they were seated at the table, all that was there for their dinner was contained in a very long-necked jar with a narrow mouth, in which the fox could not insert his snout. All he could manage to do was lick the outside of the jar.
Okay.
And so the moral of that is one bag turned deserves another, pretty much. So that's how they do with each other.
These are not having, a lot of these stories are having some good, some good, some
This is
good
like kind of
endings,
deceitful,
and then some of 'em
vengeful
having
type, like get your lick
some
back.
vengeful stuff going on.
All right, so this is all right, this is interesting. A bundle of sticks. All right, a father had a family of sons who were, this is a good one, I read this one before, who were perpetually quarreling among themselves. When he failed to heal their disputes by exhortations, he determined to give them a practical illustration of the evils of disunion, and for this purpose, he one day told them to bring him a bundle of sticks.
Okay.
All right, so when they had done so, he placed the bundle into his hands of each of them in succession and ordered them to break them into pieces. They tried with all their strength, but were unable to break the bundles all at once.
Okay.
All right. He next opened the bundle and took the sticks out separately, one by one, and again put them in his son's hands, upon which they broke them easily. He then addressed them in these words: My sons, if you are of one mind and unite and assist each other, you will be as this bundle, uninjured by all the attempts of your enemies. But if you are divided amongst yourselves, you will easily be broken as these sticks. So, union gives strength is the moral to that story.
Right.
Now, that's one that I always be trying to say to people, man. It's strength in numbers, man.
Yeah.
If we could just unite. They got this shit about the teamwork make the dream work, but man, don't nobody be doing nothing on the team. You see what I'm saying? Like, they just be letting you do all the work, and then they pop champagne.
They pop out when it's time.
Exactly, when it's time to celebrate. So, but it's different within a unity or a union.
Right.
A union is more of a bond. So a bond got a strength to it. To bond something, you know what I'm saying? Usually you using some type of sealant.
Right.
So a bond, I like that. A strong bond, unity, man. So the dog in the manger.
Okay.
That shit sound damn near biblical almost. You know what I'm saying?
Almost.
A dog in a manger, all right. So a dog looking out for his afternoon nap jumped into the manger of an ox and lay there cozily upon the straw. But soon the ox, returning from his afternoon work, came up to the manger and wanted to eat some of the straw. The dog, in rage, being awakened from its slumber, stood up and barked at the ox, and whenever it came near, it attempted to bite it. It's a kind of bold dog right there. You attempting to bite an ox. All right, so
very bold.
I'm saying, at last the ox had to give up the hope of getting at the straw and went away muttering. And then it says, people often grudge others what they cannot enjoy themselves. I don't really get that, because they got one similar to that where it's a fox that want to get some grapes that are hanging.
Okay.
And so it keeps jumping at the grapes, but it can't get the grapes. And then it's like, they will probably sour. I don't want them anyway.
Okay.
And then it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, being a little bit spiteful for what you can't have.
Okay, yeah.
But you had wanted it.
Basically like someone saying, they want your shoes, and then they be like, you can't have them. Then they be like, man, them shoes ugly anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot of guys be doing that to women. They be trying to get their number, and then they be like, if you in your ugly ass.
Right. There
They be like, you just wanted me like a couple of seconds ago. You wanted me before I rejected your ass, before I mutomboed your black ass.
There you go.
But let's see
There you
what the
go.
frog and the ox are talking about. Then I'm gonna jump into some legends real quick.
Okay, let's do that.
Some of these legends, because them legends be interesting, you know. All right, so, oh father, said the little frog to the big. Oh shit, yeah, I read this one. I like this one. My
Okay.
bad, y'all, for interrupting it. But all right, so oh father, said the little frog to the big one sitting by the side of the pool. I've seen such a terrible monster. It was as big as the mountains, with horns on its head and a long tail, and it had hoofs divided into two. All right, so with that, tush, child, tush. You know how that shit get when somebody try to downplay something. Said the old frog, that was only a farmer's white ox. Isn't bigger than he may be. What is it? What, a little bit bigger than I. So he said, all right, but I can easily make myself quite as broad as you see. And so he blew himself out and blew himself out and blew himself out. Was he as big as that, he asked. Oh, much bigger than that, said the young frog. And again, he blew himself out and blew himself out. And asked the young one, is the ox as big as that? Bigger than that, father, was the reply. So the fox took a deep breath and blew and blew and blew and swelled and swelled and swelled. I'm sure the ox isn't as big as this, but at that moment he burst.
Oh, okay.
Self-conceit may lead to self-destruction.
Okay.
So
Ego. That
it's
ego.
basically
Ego thing.
yeah, like you think you bigger than the ox, you just don't want to let it go. You're gonna keep huffing and puffing and puffing, blowing yourself up till bam. That's it right there. Blew yourself up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that, like you say, the ego, you know, it's our downfall for a lot of things. Alright, so let's get into how some of these legends, be it, may kinda coincide with some of our fables.
Okay.
So I decided to get the urban legend. So right off the top, they got the 27 Club.
Okay. I ain't never heard of that one.
I ain't either, but it says it's an urban legend that popular musicians and other celebrated artists die at age 27 with statistically anomalous frequency, notably Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Mia Zapata, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, and Amy Winehouse.
Mm-hmm.
They claim of this statistical spike for the death of musicians at the age has been repeatedly disproven by the studies, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got one. These are dealing with like numbers 0 through 9.
Okay.
These are urban legends. The 999 phone charging myth.
Okay.
It's an urban legend which claims that calling an emergency telephone number, then promptly hanging it up, charges mobile phone batteries.
Wow.
I ain't tried that.
I'm not going to try that.
Alright, 1962 Halloween massacre.
Okay.
It says was an urban legend about the photo of a Halloween costume party in 1962 in which 7 people were purportedly killed.
Uh-huh.
Urban legends.
Okay.
See, it get kind of interesting. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right, now the 2016 clown sightings.
Okay.
I think I heard about that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Urban legends that rose into popularity during 2016 about an individual or group dressed up as clowns who
Clowns.
stalk, harass, and otherwise scare randomly.
I heard of that one too.
All right, so I'll get to them. They do them in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So, an aerial water bomber picking up scuba diver
Mm-hmm.
is an urban legend about an aerial water bomber or a helicopter with a dangling water bucket scooping up a scuba diver and dumping them on the and dumping them on wildfire sites. This legend was used as a plot device in the films of Magnolia and Barney's version. What is this? The urban legend of debunking site of Snopes. Okay, so this is something I guess that they debunk.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard of Alexandria's Genesis,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a purported genetic mutation that gives its carrier purple eyes, shimmering pale skin, and lack of body hair. Okay. This I've heard of.
Okay.
And you've seen it in movies.
Okay.
You've seen it done, not even necessarily, you've seen it in movies, and it ain't even got to necessarily be scary movies.
Okay.
You've seen this done pretty much to disable people, and it's also a myth behind this.
Okay.
All right, so the ankle slicing car thief.
Okay.
So it says, or man under a car that slices your ankles, right?
Okay.
So it's an urban legend that tells of a driver that keeps hearing noises under their car when they are driving, and then when they step out of the car to investigate, their ankles get sliced with an open knife.
Oh, I've seen that in movies before.
Exactly.
I've seen that.
And it's also considered like the Achilles tendon, where people always
And
try
that
to go
foot
from
just
behind
flapping,
there
yeah.
so you can't walk. So, I get that to a degree, but I've never seen that. Damn sure don't want nothing like that happening around me.
Right.
Here's another urban legend that is kind of truthful, I guess. Area 51.
Oh yeah, yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's another name for a portion of Nevada test and training range that the UFO enthusiasts have theorized contains evidence of visitors from outer space. There's no evidence for any of these claims.
But you
there
know
is,
you can't fly over it. You know you're
And you
not
get
allowed
shot.
on it. You
Yep.
get shot if you go on this government land. We're talking about thousands of acres from what I understand. Like you can't fly over. There's a no-fly zone, and no one's allowed over there.
I mean, I definitely think it's something tricky up there, man. And, the fact that it can go underground, in mountains, you never know. All these different things in
Right.
seclusion. Like, what are you hiding that we can't see that's so secretive?
Right.
You see
That's
what
what
I'm
make
saying?
everybody believe that it's true.
Exactly.
I got one. I'm gonna read for you.
Go for it.
Urban legend.
Uh-huh.
This was kind of scary. The licked hands, also known as doggy lick or human car lick, too, is an urban legend popular among teenagers. The story describes a killer who secretly spends the night under a girl's bed, licking her hand when offered, which she takes to be her dog.
Hey, what's so funny about that? They did that in an episode of Supernatural, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, that ain't that. See, yeah, you'll see those in movies and TV shows, believe it or not, or where somebody have their hand dangling and shit like that, and then just something touch it or move it. Yes. I got one that is recent, and the shit seems kind of scary. It's called The Back Rooms.
Okay.
It's an urban legend originating from a 2019 4chan thread that claimed an outer bounds area really existed. The resemblance of liminal spaces which could be accessed accidentally and could not be escaped. The legend soon developed to include real or implied creatures that terrorize and hunt people trapped in the back rooms.
Oh wow.
But the back rooms kind of look like let's say like yellow office cubicle rooms, never ending, like a never ending labyrinth of maze, and you get around one of them, and then you see it all over again. Then you may finally get to a door, open it, and see it again. And have to do all that again. Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of mind-boggling.
Wow.
Another one now, like I say, we keep in mind we're going alphabetically order, so I'm in the B's right about now.
Okay.
The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. All right, an urban legend dating back to the 60s about a teenage girl babysitting children who receives telephone calls from a stalker who continually asks her to check the children, all while secretly being in the same house as the babysitter. I mean, we get those kind of movies.
Right.
Like, I'm in the next room and shit like that.
Right.
Those always, to me, man, I'm like this. You don't want to prank me doing that because you're going to get shot.
that's where
Because it's already
scary enough.
subliminally scary, yeah, because you have these legends. It's already implanted in the back of your mind from all these movies and shit.
Right.
So those are things that I don't take too kindly or lightly if you're going to try that.
Okay.
We got another one, and you feel free to chime in as you want. You can start going a little bit further down the alphabets.
I've already started.
Yes,
and I
sir.
got one that we already
you got?
know, that most of us know about.
All right.
Bloody Mary.
Of course.
It's a folklore legend consisting of a ghost or spirit conjured to reveal the future. She is said to appear in a mirror where her name is called multiple times. The Bloody Mary apparition may be beckoning for malviolent, depending on historic variations of the legend. The Bloody Mary appearance are mostly witnessed in group participation games.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's also another one.
Candyman.
No, a Bloody Mary one.
Oh,
But
it's a
that's
drink
That's
too.
a whole different take.
What's that?
Bloody Mary one is one that the one that I'm talking about is that it was a Queen of England at one time. They called her Bloody Mary, and she would take children and in order to stay young, she would bathe in the blood of children.
Hey, they doing that now.
Right. I'm just saying that.
Hey,
Like,
as
that's
a
what,
matter of
that
fact,
was a legend that day, and it was
I think Sandra Bullock does that.
It was no. I don't know. Allegedly. Allegedly.
Okay. Well, if you Google it, YouTube it, and she's on there saying she put fetus.
Allegedly.
She's allegedly on there, allegedly saying with her own mouth about some alleged fetus skin.
Alleged.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, there's some folks that be doing that, man. Y'all. Hey, I'm gonna take y'all down there. That might be one of my episodes.
I saw a post recently, and it might not be true, so this is I'm gonna say allegedly, where Cassie says she used to give P Diddy her cycle every month, and they would at his parties they would eat it.
I mean, you have a lot of people. Yeah, alleged. We gonna allege this thing. Hey, that vampirism shit is real. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a lot of people out there that partake in that, man. But I'm gonna say this: the only type of blood that I would ever accept would be a transfusion if I needed it, man.
Right.
I don't really think it makes you useful at all. How about just eating the proper shit, drinking water, getting some rest, and exercising, man? And sometimes just letting age do its thing.
Let age be grateful to.
Just be thankful that you lived long enough to have this wisdom, man. I mean, you can't turn everything back. You ain't gonna stay on this bitch forever. So, you know, leave a everlasting positive impression through your work, through your art. All right, so the Bandage Man is an urban legend about a logger who died in a grisly sawmill accident that attacks cars and terrorizes teenagers. Yeah.
I saw that one.
I haven't.
I saw it on this thing I was just talking about.
All right, let's see what some of this stuff I'm skipping. You know, the black-eyed children though. Now that comes up a lot. An urban legend of supposed paranormal creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16 with pale skin and black eyes who are reportedly seen hitchhiking or panhandling or are encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. Tales of black-eyed children have appeared in pop culture since the late 1990s.
Okay.
All right, so when you start getting into tales that become recent, that are supposed to be paranormal, I'm kind of sketchy on those. I might believe some of the older ones, just depending, because a lot of the times people will enter different things that can make things happen.
Right.
They kind of are now, but not as much. That black-eyed though. You know, I've seen YouTube videos about that, so I actually kind of know what they look like. But the thing is, saying that they hitchhike, there are many cases that are documented about people that have picked up hitchhikers or people that have gone missing for searching for things like this.
Right.
Or allowing strangers and shit like that into their vehicle. And all I can tell you, man, is if it looks or resembles like an apparition, if you look like a strange homeless type person, if you look half demented and crazy, and we somewhere out in the sticks, we somewhere out in the boondocks, we somewhere on a dark path, highways, you know, trails, do not approach me. Because I'm probably going to be worse than you, but I'm going to look sane when I'm doing it too.
Right.
But the thing is, man, like, it's too many people, like I say, that go missing and lost their lives because they have been approachable by things that we're talking about that are like legends and shit. All right. Let me skip past the Bloody Mary that
Let me
you just
give you
did.
one real quick. Famous one, Robin Hood.
Okay.
Robin Hood.
I like that one, by the way.
Was an outlaw who failed to appear in court. This is the historical inspiration of the story. Robin Hood was an outlaw who failed to appear in court in the summer of 1225. Royal judges in York failed to pay the ordered penalty, and his name appeared in Rob Hood. In the following year's ledger, William Rob Hood was another. So then it says Robin Hood is one of the most famous legendary characters of all time. Although his existence is not clearly verified, he is believed to be an Englishman from medieval times. It wasn't until 18 to 1589 that the first claims of Robin Hood as a thief who stole from the rich and gave to the poor began to arise. Robin Hood then became a noble symbol of resistance and tyranny. Of resistance and tyranny.
So, with the exception of Robin Hood Men in Tights, all the Robin Hood,
Come in.
you know what I'm saying?
You saw that
Hey,
movie?
why you tripping, man? Peep
It's your man.
Dave Chappelle in that movie.
I
That's
saw
all
it.
up. Okay.
I saw
All
it.
right, now so you already know where we're going with that.
Right.
I'm gonna leave that be. If you just do your little homework and see what Dave Chappelle was wearing, what he said,
Right.
and you're gonna be like, okay, though. But man, yeah, Robin Hood has always been a noble character and story to me. And like I like taking kind of from the wealthy that look down upon those
Right.
as peasants or something, especially if you got your wealth in illicit and illegitimate means, shall I say? Yeah, you know, you turn the tables on them. I like that. But yeah, you know, take from the rich and give to the poor or the destitute, especially those that are holding it above your head or there may be a king that is not noble.
Right.
Cow tipping.
Okay.
This is funny because this is the type of shit you hear about in the country.
Okay.
I've never done it, but I've heard of people that actually have tried it, you know. But this cow tipping shit is the purported activity of sneaking up on any unsuspecting and sleeping upright cow and pushing it over for the entertainment. Supposedly and it's supposed, like I say, supposedly popular in rural farming communities.
Okay.
But you got to be on some country shit. You got to be country strong to try to do that. You got to be risky because if you get kicked by that cow, I don't think that's gonna feel too good. Not a hoof, hell no. And I mean, you know,
Here go one. The spider bite.
Oh.
You may have heard this urban legend tell about a child who was bitten by a spider while exploring. Maybe you know someone who knows someone who has a coworker that experienced the same thing. As his mother gave him a hot bath, the bite began oozing. But this was no ordinary bite. The site was hatching and releasing thousands of spiders and eggs from the boy's skin as his horrified mom looked on.
Man, look. I just know spider bites from a black widow and a brown recluse you need to go on ahead and go to the hospital with.
Sewer alligator. Since the 1930s, people have allegedly seen an alligator roaming the sewers of New York City.
They made a movie about that.
Right.
The alligator.
The reptilian monstrosity is approximately 8 feet long, and some say it has white, scaly skin and red eyes. Is this an albino alligator hiding from the light in the sewers, or a hungry beast looking for its next bite to eat? We'll never know.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, you never know what's roaming in the sewers. I can definitely tell you some rats down there, though, for sure.
Most definitely.
Definitely gonna be that.
Right.
You probably get some snakes down there. I mean, you know, ain't no telling what could be down there if you really stay down there and walk. Thank you.
If you're trying to find out.
I ain't trying to find out.
Right. That's the thing. Are you trying to find out?
I'ma jump to the back on that spider thing because I got a true story about a spider bite, man, that is horrific to me. But there was a lady that got bit by a brown recluse on the tip of her finger. She actually went to the hospital and you know, got work done like she should have. But the poison, how can I say, is so potent that they couldn't necessarily extract all of it.
Right.
And what happens is it reproduces and it eats the flesh. So what she had to end up doing is get the tip of that finger cut off. Right. That still didn't do it.
Oh, wow.
So the remedy that she has to do, she has to literally take a taser and tase that finger multiple times a day to keep it stimulated in a certain way where it won't have the finger die and the decay set in
and start spreading
that poison. Yep. And so I thought, imagine first of all being used to the taser and having to tase yourself all the time. I think I told this story to you before, but having to tase yourself all the time over just that spider bite, man.
Right.
A lot of times, man, you know, people will get bit in one area by like a black widow or recluse, and then this big, the area gets as big as this microphone right here, and it gets red or dark brown or blackish. You know, it's like,
yeah.
You know,
Now you got me slapping my leg.
Oh, that's over there scratching. But you know, that's the lesson I learned from these spider bites.
Right.
So that ain't no legend right there, man.
That's the truth.
Definitely, yeah, that's the truth. Go
Okay.
ahead, and if you get bit by one of them, go get taken care of for serious. For the D's with the 999 again, right? So death number. Let me get it out specifically because this is 999 9999. 4 nines, right? It's an urban legend claiming that if someone is stupid enough to call this after midnight, they will be able to request anything they wish, but at the cost of their death.
Okay.
So that defeats the point, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Why would you wish? You get your wish, but you get to die behind it.
Right. Exactly.
That
So what's
doesn't
the
make
point?
any sense, but it kind of sounds like they say just dessert.
Or just be
just
happy
absurd.
with what you have.
You know, exactly.
Be happy with where you at, what you have.
This is interesting because it actually happened, but it's a legend behind it.
Okay.
The death of James Dean. In a car accident spawned many urban legends that related to his Porsche 550 nicknamed the Little Bastard. The most common one states that any individual who took a part from Dean's car after the accident later died in an accident of their own. Other stories include the wreck itself being involved in accident causing loss of life or heavy destruction of property and its unexplained disappearance in 1960.
Okay.
I got a feeling at some point Kobe may make that legend list.
You think so?
I do. Well, he already did
Right.
with the helicopter cartoon. He had a helicopter Nike commercial.
Okay.
And shit, I mean, I just look at it, it's kind of fishy because it's interesting how you can be in a crash that same day because of fog, but there are people on the scene in that same fog
Right.
in choppers or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But I ain't gonna go deep down that rabbit hole because that legend didn't make it just yet unless I get to the caves and I see it. Doveland, Wisconsin. I wonder what this is. So it says an urban legend about a Wisconsin town called Doveland that, according to the legend, disappeared entirely in the 1990s, with many people saying they remember the town, yet it does not exist. In the 90s.
In the 90s.
I ain't heard nothing about that.
Me either.
The Dover.
I just found out about the town that's on the Lake Lanier.
I did too. See, but now imagine.
I didn't believe it at first.
But Lake Lanier is an urban legend.
Well, no,
It's a real legend there. People
is a
dying in
real
that
thing,
bitch.
yeah,
But what they tied it to could be legend.
Right. I just watched a documentary about Lake Lanier, so it's real.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, we talking about the legend of dying. You know, they have that legend that when King Tut's tomb was open, that all the people were cursed, and they all started dying off. Like Howard Carter, the guy the scientist who originally opened King Tut's tomb, and all the people that helped him, all the diggers and stuff. All these people apparently died after they opened that tomb because of the curse that was on it.
Well, sometimes some people had booby traps set in the tomb. Or it was like that. How can I say that Indiana Jones thing?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Basically,
like
something
you damn
like
near
that.
had to die to get to it.
Right.
If you know, or if you pull something, once you see that gold and you pull it,
And then
you
some
set off
slam
some-
down. Yeah.
You gotta be careful about that, man. I mean, it literally have rocks and shit propped up to fall on you and things like that. This is called the debunk box. This is kind of popular in urban myth, man, but the folklore and legend that describes a wine cabinet that's claimed to be haunted by a debunk or whatever, and that's a concept in Jewish mythology.
Okay.
It's always interesting when people set out to try to prove these things or debunk them. Some things are better left alone. That's all I'm gonna say. Exactly.
Alone.
Okay, the elevator game. This is kind of recent. It's a ritual that purportedly sends a participant to an alternate world if done correctly, and involves a mysterious woman that may enter the elevator with them. The legend is said to date back to 2008. On how cute, date back to 2008. They ain't dating back to shit hardly.
Right.
But on the Japanese website Channel 2.
Mm.
That's a bit far fetched for me.
Right.
All right, how about we got fan death?
Mm-hmm.
Is the purported phenomena of people dying. See, this be that side. Okay, dying supposedly as a result of an electric fan running in a closed, windowless room, originating in South Korea during the 1920s and 1930s. The myth has persisted in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Well to the early, July 4th, 2011. I'm like, why don't you just unplug the fan? Shit.
Right.
Hey, before
maybe
I
the fan,
die,
maybe the fan
that's
don't,
what I would
maybe
do.
the fan don't unplug. Maybe it's constantly running.
Now that would be interesting.
That's the scary part of it.
The Fresno night crawlers
Mm-hmm.
are cryptids first spotted in Fresno, California on CCTV footage. They appear to be white, long-legged creatures compared to walking pairs of pants. I've seen that before.
Really?
I've seen it. They don't understand what it is. They basically look exactly like that, like some walking pants or something, or walking Slenderman or something like that.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Okay, so we got one like the Gateway to Hell. Now this, I say, can be this is up for debate and opinionated. I'm not even gonna read this one because this ain't the one that they got other ones. They'll have some of them that they call portals, and they may be like in Iraq and Afghanistan. But this particular gateway says it's an urban legend and located in the Stoll Cemetery in Kansas. The stairs in an old demolished church open to the other side on Halloween and the spring equinox.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But I have. Have you heard about the stairs in the woods?
I have.
Me too.
I have.
Me too. I've heard some people say don't touch them, don't walk
try
up
to
them
walk
too.
up them. Yeah. They got this one. When you sleep and you hear somebody call your name, this is something Slick told me. You're not supposed to answer.
Wow. Well, here's one that seemed to be a myth, and that's actually real. But the blue people, and that was just pretty much a deficiency in their blood, so it made their skin pigmentation look blue.
Okay.
But all they had to do, actually, the funny thing of it was take some methylene blue, like be injected with that, and it
cleared it right up.
Yep. So that wasn't as ghostly as they tried to make that
it seem. Okay.
Let's see what the Hat Man is.
Okay.
An urban legend, based around a humanoid shadow person who appears after someone takes too much medicine. Goddamn. Particularly Benadryl. He is described. Okay, so yeah, definitely this one ain't making no sense. That's just somebody on drugs right there. Somebody that got too much lean.
Yeah, and hallucinating.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all that is.
Any legend that's gonna deal with drugs, I'm not. No. Okay, so here's an urban legend. We all have heard this song. We all like this song. But have you heard the legend behind the "In the Air Tonight" song by Phil Collins?
No. Go ahead. I just listened to that song a couple weeks ago.
Wow. It said it's allegedly, there go that word again, about a drowning incident in which someone who was close enough to save the victim did not help them, while Collins, who was too far away to help, looked on. Increasingly embellished variations on this legend emerged over time, with the stories often culminating in Collins singling out the guilty party while singing the song at a concert. But interesting. I've heard that before. But this wasn't my first time.
I heard that when the song first came out, because I'm old enough to remember, that it was about someone, a friend of his who had got unalived, and he watched it. But he
Okay.
was too young to do anything.
Okay.
And the person that did it didn't see him.
Mhm.
That's why he said, "You don't know me." You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And he said, "I saw what you did."
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
With my own two eyes,
Mhm.
but you don't know me.
Mhm.
But the hurt still grows and the pain still rolls. It's a stranger to you and me. See what I'm saying? So he says it in the song. If you listen to the words, like if you listen to the words,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And see, I thought it was about damn near. I was like, when I used to listen to it and paid attention to it, it does sound dark as hell. But it
is
sounded
very.
like he got his heart broken.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like damn near drowning in love or something,
Mm-hmm.
or like too painful to move on from a heartache.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, sticking to that with music, because this is another urban legend, and I found it very interesting that this is almost how like the birth of rock and roll. But Robert Johnson,
Uh-huh.
have you heard of him?
I briefly.
I have. This one pops up a lot on the urban legends, but was a Mississippi blues singer and songwriter who, according to legend, was like one of the first to sell his soul
To the devil.
yep, at the crossroads
Mhm.
in exchange for his remarkable talent on the guitar.
skills. Yeah, his remarkable guitar skills. You know, if you ever watched that show on HBO, on Stars called War of the Gods Legends, I forget what it is. I read the book. They had a segment in there where the guy came back, the black guy came back from the crossroads of tracks and could play the guitar really well. And he had supposedly sold his soul to the devil. And he couldn't go over the tracks.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, that is kind of like one of the reasons why they say that Holly weird, and the record industry is kind of like so demonic and evil, because of some of the things that they make you do to get some of these contracts and these deals. Um, you even have these artists say it themselves, whether they try to be, how can I say, like whether they're using a lot of allegory or, just being super expressive with what they're saying. But you've had Kanye say it, a couple of other people. I can say Keith Richards, guitar player, mentioning selling it or doing deals with that, a dark person and things like that, man. I'm just like, if that's the path that you're gonna be on, and that's what you want to invite into your life, you probably will come across some astronomical demonic type
Stuff,
things
right.
in life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because you sometimes what you conjure, you may actually hallucinate and see. You may actually bump into. You never know what type of sorcery you might end up
But you might bump
bringing
into.
upon yourself. Or attracting certain people that are into that. All right. I'm gonna try this Mackenzie Poltergeist only because I've heard of Poltergeist before, and it's interesting to see it keep reoccurring.
Okay.
But obviously we know about the movie. But this one is the supposed restless spirits of George Mackenzie, an infamous figure in Scottish history who engaged in merciless oppression of religious minorities to the extent a portion of the graveyard, a graveyard, he haunts is dedicated, to his countless victims.
Okay.
I'll just say, in all cultures, we get a lot of folklore and legends about hauntings, haunted houses, haunted cemeteries. I think a lot of us, I'm not gonna say I would say believe it, but a lot of us do say like the spirit of our ancestors.
Right.
Or I want to tap in. This is what our ancestors would do. Ancestors speaking to us. I'm not gonna say we haunted by them.
Okay.
But maybe some things can be left behind, some
left
clues, some signs, that we spiritually can align with.
I'm gonna give you one. It's a song we sang as children.
Okay.
And the meaning behind it, the legend, the urban legend, Ring Around the Posies.
Okay, definitely get me on that.
Many have interpreted this rhyme as to referencing the bubonic plague, which swept through England at the turn of the 15th century and again at the 17th century. This interpretation correlates that the rosy rings with the red circular rashes that were symptoms of the plague, and the pockets full of posies with an herbal treatment to deter the terrible ailment. And so the ashes is ashes, we all fall down.
You die. So kind of like plague. I mean,
yeah, it was like the bubonic plague.
Isn't like Marco Polo some kind of?
I don't know about Marco Polo. I can look it up, but I think it is something like that.
Look that up. Okay. While you do that,
London bridges
falling down, my fair lady. Yeah, and it's a lot of things. Shit. I'm trying to think of certain legends where it'd be dark and people getting killed in them, and they make songs out of. You know.
Slick say, "Don't step on crack. Don't
break your
sweep
mom back
my foot and not let me spit on the broom." Urban legends.
Okay.
Now that one right there, I learned when I moved here from Chicago.
Urban legends are superstitions.
Those are superstitions. But that one right there was kind of a superstitious legend because everybody believed that one right there. I was working at a restaurant part time, and I work in the kitchen. And I didn't learn this till I moved here. And I swept one of the guys' feet who worked in the kitchen. And I swept it on accident, but I wasn't thinking nothing about it. I was sweeping. He was he was standing there. I just accidentally swept, brushed his feet. Man, he chased me around that kitchen. Spilling that broom. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, man, I got spilled on the broom. You ain't finna give me bad luck or something he was saying. I was like, what?
Oh, I ain't never heard that.
Right, so he chased me around there. I mean, he literally chased me down. So me being who I am, every time I swept the kitchen and he was there, I would sweep his feet because I didn't understand the meaning of what he was doing because I'd never heard of that before. But I mean, it's a lot of people who believe that, like believe it really hard.
Well, they be sweeping my feet at the barbershop sometime when damn hair get on it. Shit. Maybe I need to tell them to stop.
Right.
I'm gonna get on this because I'm seeing legends start like melonhead, right? It say melonheads are beings generally described as small humanoids with bulbous heads who occasionally emerge from hiding places to attack people. First of all, that sounds like some imaginary type shit.
Right.
But when they start describing some of these things, I'm like, damn, some of these things sound like aliens and they be like humanoid this, humanoid that. And like, how many legends are you gonna have? Like, what does it stem from? Like, a lot of times, some things stem from something you saw.
And that's what
something
I'm saying.
You heard.
People see things.
Exactly. So I'm saying if some of these legends, because I skipped over some of them, I skip over like the creepypastas and stuff like that because it's getting too much into the conspiracy theories, right? But I'm like, damn, I mean, what were these people seeing back then?
I mean, you think about what happens is people see things, they tell somebody else, and then what happens is people embellish. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And by the time it gets to, hundreds of years later or years later or, decades later, there's been so much stuff added to it that it sounds unbelievable, but it may have been somebody saw somebody walk across the room real quick and didn't know what it was and say, hey, Shootah, I saw a shadow walk across the room yesterday. And then by the time you tell somebody, man, did you know that Lab saw a shadow walk across the room and he heard him say something to him? And then by somebody else do you know Shootah said Lab saw a man walk across the room, said something to him, then touched him on the shoulder? You get what I'm saying? I would add stuff to it.
So my thing when that happens is what always remained the same from the original story.
A
shadow.
The shadow,
possibly.
right.
So that could have possibly been right.
Right.
But all right, so I say that to say, well, wouldn't this be interesting? I might end up looking into this.
Okay.
How many truths, like let's say it started out a truth and ended a lie?
How many truths ended up being lies?
No. Like you say, you could tell something that's true.
Were actually true.
Or that. Either the same way, like, okay, if I tell you something that's the truth, but so many people get a hold to it, and add and fabricate to it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you never know.
Mm.
Because I know a lot of the times some people take things that I know ain't true and make the shit sound like it's the truth, like allow it to be the truth.
Oh, people could do that very well.
All right, so with this, I've never heard of her, but her name is Julia Petta, and she's known as the Italian Bride. And it says, was a woman who died in childbirth. Her mother dreamed she was still alive, and her body exhumed 6 years after her death. When the casket was opened, her body, with the exception of her arm holding her stillborn child, and the child itself was still intact. But I have heard of, it is one body, I forgot her name. I got to look that up. But she passed, and she looks damn near pristine. Damn near like the day that she died, and nothing was done to her. And she's in a glass case.
Right. Wasn't that a nun?
Or something like that. Yeah,
It was a nun in I want to say Rome, and there's somewhere one of them basilicas in Rome where she's still pretty much in pristine condition, and they just got her in a glass case. She's not decaying or anything. I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so now this is funny because here's a myth that might not necessarily be a myth. The poison candy myths.
Okay.
Urban legends about malevolent strangers hiding poison or sharp objects such as razor blades, needles, or
and
broken
Halloween
glass.
candy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we had that going on in Chicago when I was a child.
I had to encounter that too. Like, my mom
Had to
told me
check all
something
the
about like
candy.
that. Yeah. So that ain't here we go. This is my favorite one. This ain't no myth. Now see, that's what I'm talking about. Like some of this shit they say urban. All right, Project MK Ultra.
Okay.
Was a Central Intelligence Agency government-funded program in the early 1950s to the early 1970s, responsible for many dangerous, irresponsible, and inhumane experiments on American citizens. Since it's revealed now, but it's supposed to be a legend, into the public 1977, it has spawned numerous myths and conspiracy theories about it. That shit ain't no conspiracy theory, man.
Right.
All right. So the Red Room Curse is a Japanese early internet urban legend about a supposed red pop-up ad which announces a forthcoming death of the person seeing it.
Slick say the candy thing was real. It was during
Yeah,
Wayne William days.
it is. I know.
It was people really poisoning candy. Halloween.
All right, so let me know if you heard about this one on the since you from Chicago, right? Resurrection Mary. Have you heard of her? It's a vanishing hitchhiker type ghost associated with the Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois.
Nope, never heard of her.
Okay.
Never heard of her.
Bet.
I mean, not to say there's not a myth that goes around, but everything don't make it to us like that.
I got you.
But yeah, I never heard of that one.
All right, so the Russian sleep experiment. I heard about that one. Man, pretty much it's a tale about 5 test subjects being exposed to an experimental sleep inhibiting stimulant in a Soviet era scientific experiment. And it's become the basis of an urban legend, but they ended up almost looking like mutated skeletons
Because they
that
never
could
slept.
talk. Yep.
They never slept.
Yep. The Shaman's Portal is an urban legend and located in Beaver Dunes Park, Oklahoma, due to strange disappearances that have occurred over the years.
Okay.
Okay. Silver Train of Stockholm is a silver-colored ghost train that supposedly travels to Stockholm Metro Rail system, where ghosts are said to be passengers being taken to the realm of the dead. I definitely wouldn't want to see nothing like that.
Most definitely. Slick say that was real as hell, talking about the sleep thing. No sleep, no food.
See?
I'm going to get one that everybody likes wrestling, right?
Yeah.
You watch wrestling, right?
Uh-huh.
You liked it at one point, right? The Ultimate Warrior was an American professional wrestler whose death was the subject of numerous urban legends. stories existed that he either tied his arm tassels too tightly and cut off the circulation to his body, overdosed on steroids, or was killed in a ring while wrestling. Warrior eventually died in 2014 from a heart attack. They're saying that he cut off the circulations when they often Warrior had those things around his wrist. They say he tied them too tight, cut off the circulation. That's it. That's some of the legend that they saying. But remember Ultimate Warrior, right? You remember how he looked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, hey, but while you tripping, that is how you make a tourniquet.
Right.
So I mean, but
they saying Walt Disney cryo chamber is an urban legend claiming that after his death, Walt's body, or in some versions just his head, was placed in a cryostasis chamber located somewhere beneath Walt Disney or Epcot Center.
So, check this out.
Right.
This shit is crazy. And I got one that's real, but this is an urban legend right here. I'm going to tell you the urban legend, then I'm going to tell you the real one. All right, snuff films, right? Footage of actual murders and other depraved acts of cruelty. Oh, I'm sorry. Footage of actual unalivers and depraved acts of cruelty being created for profit and personal entertainment. So, like, it had been rumored that for decades the American film industry was one of the first known, to do it in 1976 exploitation type horror films. Well, okay. Somewhere over in Mexico or another country, you had this particular news anchor guy.
Okay.
This particular news anchor had a knack for showing up on the scene as people were recently unalived.
Okay.
Okay, so he would do this and continue to do this. And so after a while, the police kind of would be like, man, this guy is kind of beating us to the scene.
Right.
All right. So, and then it kind of seemed kind of funny how he would have kind of like
Inside
information, that they didn't necessarily let out.
Right.
All right. So, what did this guy in? He ended up hiring some people to unalive people, but what happened was, he pretty much had showed footage of the scene while it was still kind of like smoke around, and he had described what had happened to the body before the police got there to be able to determine it.
Right.
And so that was kind of the giveaway. Also,
okay, so he knew what was going on already.
Well, he basically, before the police could put everything together, they had got this particular man and arrested him on on an aggravated type crime, and so he didn't want to do the time, and so he gave up the news anchor in doing that. But the news anchor was hiring him to unalive people.
Okay.
And then he would go a couple of, maybe minutes after that and be like the first person on the scene to give the breaking news.
Okay.
And that wasn't no urban legend. That wasn't no myth.
That was true.
So I can kind of see how maybe, it's
like say he did the unaliveness to tell the news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and that it's like I've seen movies where they have the future in gaming where you can win like $1 million, but you're gonna play a game where you could damn near die about it. Almost that type of stuff that you see in Squid Games.
Did you ever see the game a while back? It was called Gamer, where the kid was playing a game, but the person that he was playing with, who he was moving, was a real person. It was a prisoner who was trying to, if he played the game and won, he would be let out of jail.
Wow.
So it was actually a real person.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and the kid would have control over him through some kind of way, and he would through the game, but it was real game, real set, real bullets, real everything. And he would fight with him through the game, and the kid could hear the guy talking to him like, "Hey, move me over here, or move me over there."
Wow.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting. No, but I did see a couple of them with that type of like premise to it. It was this one dude kept dying over and over and over and over again until he got it right. But it was in the form of like a game.
Yeah, that was like 2021.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had to do these scenes. It got to the point where he knew it was coming, so he just ducked.
Right,
and he could just fast forward to that scene, before he unalived himself again.
Right.
That was kind of interesting, and that's funny because some of these things that appear to be legends and myths now, with technology, it seems like people can try to make some of them come to life.
Right.
Because I would think, let's just say, like flying on a hoverboard would be a myth at some point.
Or you ever watched the movie Back to the Future?
Mm-hmm.
And then he threw the hoverboard out onto the water and flew. And those shoes, those Nikes, those Nikes are real.
I know they are.
I mean, they cost you like $4,000.
Yeah, no, some of them $30,000.
$30,000, but they real.
Yeah,
they can lace them up. They sell. They lace up themselves and all that.
Yeah. But and see, that's what I'm saying. Okay, just like it was a myth or a legend about computer chips back in the day. All right, the Rift chip, that's here now.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about. How many things could be truth, or how you see what I'm saying? How
I get what you're saying.
That you think are far fetched
are true.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in Wikipedia. It could be considered a myth or a legend, but if you really decide to try to go to some of these places and debunk this thing, I give you some, like they say Noah's Ark or something like that.
Right.
Or time capsules. You see, but we can create a time capsule if you want to.
Most definitely.
Shit,
they
you'd
do
be
it all the
surprised
time.
at what you could find if you unearthed everything on the planet.
Right.
Or if you
dug up everything, oh my God.
If you could put the ocean in a cup for a second
and just see
what's at the bottom of that thing, man, or if you could dig and go into these underground tunnels that they say that they have, if you could go into all of these pyramids and see what they had hidden.
Not the ones that you see, but the ones that are unseen.
Unseen, yeah. Like, can you imagine how much treasure is out there to get?
Right.
How much all these sunken treasure
Gold
under the ground,
and in the ground, especially in the ocean.
Or I tell you shit that people don't factor in either, where sinkholes, earthquakes can make shit go up under, and you dig up under there and find gold, and you never know what somebody had in their house, and a sinkhole just swept it under, and it's about a mile under the earth, and you can't get to it.
Right.
Man,
I say a lot of things in movies are not too far off from the real things that we just don't know about or haven't been made aware of yet.
Exactly.
Right.
A lot of truths sometimes have to surface. That's why they say the truth shall come to light.
Right.
And a lot of the times you can find truths and things happen as the earth ages, as the planet starts shifting some, and tectonic plates and all this other stuff start happening, or a tsunami unearth something, a volcano unearth something,
right?
Lightning strikes something and might make something happen. But it's just interesting. All of that is to me.
Very
so,
much so.
So we go from, like we said, look at us looking at some legends that are actually true, living long enough to see some things that you might consider to be a myth.
Right.
Or living long enough to understand, to live out some of these fables. Everybody knows about like the ant and the grasshopper, where one of them pretty much played while the other one toiled. Then when wintertime came, one of them damn near starved to death, and the other one was able to disperse their food because they worked hard.
Worked hard for it.
So these are life lessons that you can learn from some of these events, some of these animals, some of these stories, some of these insects, some of these objects.
Right.
I found that pretty cool, man. I'm probably gonna go back home and look through some more of this stuff now, because now that I'm seeing how, we just talked up, and like you just said that the Walt Disney cryo chamber, I'm looking at that too now. But they said Mike slept in certain things.
Yeah, they say he slept in a cryo chamber too, like to stay alive. Not stay alive, but to stay young, and
And see, okay, so when you start getting at that song, all right, I'll elaborate a little bit. The cryo chamber. I have heard. Well, what you do see, what do you see athletes do after games? They take ice baths.
Ice
right?
baths, yeah.
All right. I've told if you take a ice cold shower, it kind of like rejuvenates. And they really almost said that that's best because it like jolts your system to it. It's like a shock. I don't really like it because you got to get used to it. I don't really like it. I just don't deal with the cold.
Yeah, well, you know, back when I was in Chicago, it was one summer where it was just so hot. You know, in Chicago, a lot of those houses don't have air conditioning. Some of them do, and the suburbs do. Some, but most of them, like in the city, you know, they have the window air conditioners. But just for some reason, this summer I was at my uncle's house, and he didn't have air conditioning, or it was broke or something, or it was just hot as hell outside. And I would take an ice bath.
Oh shit!
I would literally run nothing but cold water in the tub because there was no shower. I would literally run cold water in the tub, get all the ice out the freezer, put it in there, and literally put my foot in there, let it get normal, put my other foot in there, let it get normal, then slowly slide down. And then eventually it just got, my body warmed it up to a temperature that I could deal with, but I would do that. Man. And I would do it every other day.
I just open and close the freezer real fast and stand in front of it for a while and just put my face in that thing for a minute. I mean, I'm one that don't even really care for the air conditioning, so but when it do get super hot, man, I guess I gotta flip it on. And I'm looking at it like when they're doing with the Walt Disney cryo and the Michael Jackson cryo, I'm thinking more of the cold as preserving your flesh.
Well, you think about how Michael Jackson used to dance, and you know, athletes do it.
Man.
So it was probably something to help
with the
rejuvenate his muscles. You know what I'm saying? His tendons and stuff like that, because he danced all the time.
All the time. I think he probably degenerated his shit more than the like athletes do because of the way he had to be on them joints and the moonwalking and the every time he did that heel toe step, that man, that shit, you know how much that take.
Right.
And to do it all the time, show after show.
Spot.
I still ain't gonna take no cold shower though. All right, so with that, you know, I appreciate everyone that tuned in. I see my homie SMC just tuned in a little bit. What it is, man, I got to get with you on them Hot Wheels. But we had a great day today. You know, we learned a little bit of moralistic values from our fables. We got real interesting and went down a couple of theories, improved some theories with our legends. And all I want us to do now, because I started it off, man, you know, saying what happened to a young man today, let's just be safe because it's about to be summertime, man. We like to hang out a little bit longer, you know, drink a little bit more, sometimes call out more from work in the summertime because it's lighter out there, man, but the temperatures tend to rise. But
and them black women
but
looking
our aggression
good.
shouldn't with it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, man. Let's put these guns down, man, and have some fun this summer, y'all. Let's don't start it out like that. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'll see y'all next Monday. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit. Grams leaders CC's pounds. Close cash, close call, close encounter, close up. Pounds of leaders of grams, get your dose up. Cut this up, post up, and get dosed up. This for them voted like the moving, make the most of. Monday night at 8, I can't wait to set you straight. These opinions and debates for them folk that can't relate. I got to elevate your mind through these signs of the time. Dishing out that medication for that deaf, dumb and blind. And I ain't hard to find, you can catch me in those trenches. I do the groundwork and I ain't waiting on no sense. I be touching on them topics politicians fail to mention. And I don't vote for nobody that ain't got good intentions. I'm relentless for my people and I'm here to make a change. I got that truth serum hooked directly through your veins. Hey, this is for my people, tune in, catch it close up, close up, close up.